Most people spend their entire lives collecting things that look like wealth: a house, a car, a retirement account. They check their balances, they watch the numbers go up, they feel richer. But here's the problem. Almost none of it is actually creating wealth. It's just sitting there, waiting, hoping someone else will pay more for it later. There's only one asset that doesn't wait, only one that wakes up every morning and makes you richer whether you're paying attention or not. And most people will never own it. What wealth actually is. Wealth isn't a number in your bank account. It's not the appraised value of your home. Wealth is the ability to generate more value than you consume. That's it. Your house doesn't do that. It sits there. It ages. It needs a new roof. Maybe it goes up in value, maybe it doesn't. But the house itself isn't producing anything. It's storing wealth at best, destroying it at worst. Same with your car, same with gold, same with that watch you bought because someone said it holds value. These are all passive assets. They don't generate, they don't multiply, they just exist until you sell them. When you buy a stock, you're not creating wealth, you're buying a piece of something someone else built. You're hoping that thing grows. You're hoping other people want to buy it from you later. That's not wealth creation, that's speculation with better odds. Unless you own enough of the company to actually influence what it does, you're just a passenger. You're renting a seat on someone else's wealth-generating machine. So what's the machine? A business. Not a stock, not an index fund, a business you own and control. That's the only asset that actually creates wealth. Here's why. A business takes inputs and turns them into something worth more than the sum of the parts. You hire someone for $50 an hour. They generate $100 of value. The difference is profit. That profit didn't exist before. You created it. That's wealth creation, and it happens whether you're awake or asleep, whether the stock market is up or down. A business that works just keeps producing. The system wants you out. The financial system knows this. That's why Jeff Bezos isn't rich because he bought Amazon stock. He built Amazon. That's why Elon Musk didn't get wealthy trading Tesla shares. He created Tesla. But for everyone else, the system offers a 401k, a diversified portfolio, a target date retirement fund. It tells you to save, invest, and wait 40 years. That's not wealth creation. That's wealth accumulation. You're being paid to stay out of the way. The numbers don't lie. The median U.S. household has a net worth of about $190,000, mostly home equity and retirement accounts, both passive, both dependent on someone else buying later. The top 1%, median net worth of $11 million. More than half comes from business equity, not stocks they bought, businesses they own. Business owners don't wait for appreciation. They build systems that generate cash flow. A business that generates $50,000 a year in profit, that's $50,000 you didn't have before, every year, forever, as long as the business runs. And if you reinvest that profit, it compounds through operational leverage. You hire another person, you open another location, you automate a process. Each time you're multiplying. This is why the rich get richer. They own the means of production. Everyone else owns claims on the means of production, and claims are always worth less than the real thing. Why doesn't everyone do this? Because it's hard, because it's risky, because the system makes you think you're not qualified. You need capital, you need connections, you need a perfect idea. None of that's true, but it's easier to believe it than to try. The uncomfortable truth. The only way to actually create wealth is to build something that didn't exist before, something that generates value, something that produces more than it consumes, a product, a service, a system. Most attempts fail, but the ones that don't are the only assets that matter because they're the only ones that don't depend on someone else agreeing to pay more later. They pay now. They pay tomorrow. They pay every single day they exist. What you do next. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow. You don't need to drain your savings. Start small. Build something on the side, something that solves a real problem for real people, something you can test without betting everything. Charge money. See if it works. See if people pay. That's the only validation that matters. The question isn't whether this is true. The question is whether you're willing to build one, because no one's going to hand you a wealth-generating asset. You have to create it. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now.